Do you want to talk about Mozilla blasting dating apps? This one's really interesting to me
Yeah, according
because
to
I'm
a
super into the dating apps.
Yeah, we're both very active in this realm. According to a recent
Yeah.
report with Mozilla, dating apps are growing increasingly aggressive and invasive when it comes to collecting users' personal information, having declined significantly since the last time Mozilla reviewed their privacy practices in 2021. Around 80% of the apps reviewed share or sell personal information and do not guarantee users' right to delete their data. Most apps requires users to opt out of precision geolocation tracking and do not appear to adequately protect the data that they collect. At least one Catholic group was able to out a priest after buying Grindr, Scruff, and OkCupid user data. Grindr is also
That's
facing a class
wild.
action lawsuit alleging that it unlawfully shared UK users' HIV status with vendors, something which Grindr admitted to doing, though it denies doing so for commercial purposes.
What?
What? You just did it because you thought it would be fun? Like, what? Due to the nature of dating apps, much of this information can be incredibly personal and revealing, including religious affiliations, political beliefs, and sexual history. These companies also automatically aggregate information from users' devices, social media, third parties, and the metadata of uploaded content like photos. Match Group, who own over 40 dating apps, including Tinder, Hinge, Match, and OkCupid, say that private DMs are scanned by automated tools and may be reviewed by human agents if the bot flags potential illegal or unsafe behavior. However, DMs
This
are
one
also
blew my
reviewed
mind.
in order to evaluate, train, and improve their automated tools.
Okay, this one blew my mind because basically, they left it at the beginning, if they left it at, okay, there's something potentially unsafe here, it has to be reviewed by a moderator. You know what? I kind of get that because inherent to a dating app, you're going to have monstrous things happening. You're going to have human trafficking potentially, like
Oh, yeah.
these platforms do have to be moderated to at least some degree.
Yeah.
However, saying, look, we can review basically anything we want for the purpose of evaluating, training, and improving our automated tools, that's basically saying, yeah, it's like selling you a camera. That's like, yeah, I'll just tune into it whenever I feel like it. Cool. Like I haven't used a dating app before, so I'm gonna sound potentially kind of out of touch here, but I don't imagine that this is clear to the user when they sign up for this thing. Like, guys, let me know.
I seriously doubt
Are you
it.
on one of these platforms? And was it clear that they might be, collecting and sharing your sexual history and, any infections you might have, or, man, like reading your DMs? Yo, like what?
I've heard tell that some of the younger generations are trying to go back to more archaic versions of dating, skipping the whole dating app thing, which I think is fantastic. Very good job. Keep going.
Wow.
It's buried in the TOS, I'm sure.
So these apps
a lot
have
of people
also
are not
become
saying.
These apps have also become significantly more gamified and addictive, in part to cope with declining revenues and market share. As millennials have gotten older and settled down, Gen Z users have become the largest population of singles. However, they are typically less interested in hookups and casual dating than previous generations. Did I just get slut-shamed?
I think so. I think our whole generation did. Which, sounds probably about accurate.
You know what? Free love, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. The discussion question, is there an inherent problem having platforms involved in something as intimate as personal dating? I don't think it has to be. But it looks like it obviously is.
If you respect user data, then no, it shouldn't be a problem.
If you just make it so that you can't read DMs unless you're like basically.
This delay is brutal.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so delayed. You're not that far away, but I'm noticing the same thing.
Yeah.
If it would be nice if they couldn't read any DMs unless one of the users involved flagged the conversation. That would make sense to me.
in Floatplane chat says, when I was at this place, we had a presentation by Tinder execs on data usage and getting to profitability, and it was a very creepy conversation.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. But like this really does seem like the kind of thing that could be done. And it's it's just it's just people, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, or whatever, right? Like, because people who enter personal information in a dating app compared to a political survey, or compared to a workplace profile survey or something like that, assuming that they have an earnest desire to find a partner. I was reading about how people will answer questions much more honestly and transparently, because by hiding it, the only person they're hurting is themselves. And so all they had to do was say, okay, and our service is to pair you up with someone, and you pay us for that, and we don't have to have growth forever. We don't have to have limitless growth. At risk of sounding like an anti-capitalist, man, the enshittification of everything just does seem inevitable when you have this mindset of needing growth forever.
Yeah.
I understand it to a much greater degree now, but especially when I was younger, I would come across a news article that's like, big company X has missed their estimated earnings that per share that analysts were expecting from them by 2 cents per share, and their stock price tumbled 10%. In other news, they made $10 billion this quarter. And I would listen to that. I'd be like, sorry, what? So they make hundreds of millions, or they make $1 billion or billions of dollars in this time period, but they didn't do like as good or as we expected, and that we were gambling on, that we had kind of priced into their Gambletron share price. So what? They need to do a bunch of stock buybacks? Who announced like huge stock buybacks just now? I forget who it was, but their share price went. I think it was Google. Don't on this until I find it. Google surges after buying back billions of dollars of its own stock a day ago. $70 billion. So do you know why a company buys back stock? There's two potential reasons. One is they're expecting it to go up a lot. And so that could be, good value to own more of their company if they're super confident they're going to like do awesome. But do you know the real reason they do it?
I've had
so that their share price goes up.
Which is
good for... and the personal investments that the executives have in that company and that the shareholders have in that company go up. It's just to enrich them personally. And, when you look at a company like Google over the last year or so, what were the big bumps to their stock? Laying off a bunch of employees and using that money to buy back a bunch of stock. I was talking about this on the pre-show, but I was watching the John Oliver bit on Boeing. Really fascinating. You can basically trace back their decline into crappiness to the moment that they started spending their money on stock buybacks instead of on making a good product. Why don't we have systems? Why don't companies implement systems that punish terrible, terrible long-term thinking? I don't understand it, guys.
Yeah. I always had this theory that, maybe not stock buybacks to the tune of $70 billion, but I always had this theory that smaller size stock buybacks were based around, a lot of companies do stock as compensation. So I was like, how do you just keep doing that forever? So you probably have to buy some of your own stock, and then it makes this like cyclical thing where you're increasing the value of your stock by buying your stock and then giving stock to your employees, which increases how much they want to potentially stay or try hard or whatever. If that even works, who knows?
A little more complicated than that. You can issue more stock without necessarily buying the stock.
Does that dilute the value of the stock that you currently have, though? Because you added more... I don't know. This is like, I genuinely don't know. Yeah.
Every company works a little bit differently.
Okay.
If Yvonne Umbrella Corporation group of companies had some kind of stock program, I personally I would feel that we should take a Bitcoin-like approach, where not necessarily that you use GPUs or ASICs to mint more of the stock. I just like the stocks. That's why I buy all these GPUs. No, so not from that point of view, but from the point of view that they are finite. And in order to issue incentives, for example, we would have to actually, be profitable. We'd have to actually own what we give someone. I don't know how that would work, and maybe I'm just naive, but from my point of view, it's always been frustrating to me that if I have something that's worth a value, that someone can just like decide, oh yeah, no, actually it's like less than that.
Yeah. Oh
This is
well.
not financial advice, guys. Not
Yeah, not
financial
at all.
advice. I'll be the first to admit that when it comes to stocks, when it comes to real world, big league finance stuff, I don't get it, and I think part of it is almost just like a rejection of it. Like I actually not sure if I care to get it. I don't have to play the game, so maybe I just won't. Maybe I'll take my ball and go home.
I know that's the majority of it for me. I hate it. It just feels so. Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not going to get into all the reasons why. We'll get to a new topic.